Hey guys, welcome back to another video today. I hope you guys are all having a great day. Now, you may remember a few videos ago, I uploaded a video going over the best gaming peripherals you could buy for a few different price points. And since that video is right up here and doing pretty well, I decided to think of a different category of peripherals I could go over at a few different price points for you guys. And I thought productivity would be a great one. If you guys aren't sure what I mean by productivity, it's pretty much clean, simple, and modern peripherals. Unlike my best gaming peripherals video, these peripherals aren't really meant to increase performance, but rather just look really good. Another thing to note is that just like my best gaming peripherals video, I will be going over normal peripherals like the mouse and keyboard. However, I'm also going to be including things like the monitor, chair, and even desk. I will be including some PC components, but not all, because obviously some you can't see and some look pretty much all the same. I'll be trying to include everything needed to make a clean and simple setup at 3 different price points. I'll include a cheap option, a kind of expensive option, and then a super expensive option that you might still want to buy. I will also try and recommend products that do perform pretty well and not just have good looks. And with that, let's get into the keyboards. Just kidding. Guys, my subscriber percentage was up to over 30% at one point, which leads me to believe it can be done again. If you guys have ever watched one of my videos before and thought, how does this kid not have like 1 million subscribers? Then maybe consider hitting that big red button down there. Anyway guys, back to the keyboards. So in terms of keyboards, I would definitely recommend something slim and something wireless. I would also probably recommend going with something a little smaller like a 10 keyless keyboard or even 60% keyboard because I just think they look better in productivity setups. For the cheap keyboard, I would recommend something that kind of follows those guidelines, although since it is cheap, it may not. But I'll throw up a couple pictures on the screen of some options I thought looked pretty good. Now, for the moderately expensive option, we unlock a lot more options. If wanted, a low-profile mechanical keyboard could fit really well into this budget. Something like the Cooler Master SK621 would work really well because of its genuine low-profile Cherry MX switches and its 60% design. If a mechanical keyboard is not wanted, I would actually recommend the Apple Magic keyboard in any size or color because I really think they look really good. If you don't have a budget for your keyboard and are just looking to make your setup the nicest possible, I would definitely recommend going with a fully custom keyboard. I would recommend spending at least $300 on one of these just to make them feel as good as possible. I'll throw up a comparison of a $350 custom keyboard and a Corsair keyboard on screen. Nothing against Corsair, but which keyboard would you rather type on? Keep in mind guys, every part mentioned in this video will be linked in the description down below, and because they are affiliate links, it means I will receive a small kickback from anything purchased off those links. If you want to directly support my channel, then that's going to be the way to do it. Moving on to the mice, there honestly aren't many good cheap options. I did manage to find a few simple looking Microsoft Surface mice, and I would also probably recommend a Logitech mouse just because it's Logitech, and mice like the G402 would look really good in a simple clean setup. If you're going to spend any more on a mouse for its looks, I would recommend going wireless. Along with the Magic Keyboard, I think Apple's Magic Mouse is a great mid-range option because it looks clean and simple, and I do know it performs well because that seems to be a theme among Apple products. For a mouse that I think looks like it means business, I found the Microsoft Arc mouse. It may not be the most comfortable mouse out there, but I think the colors look really clean, and I think the mouse would look really good in a productivity setup. Moving on to the most expensive option, there really aren't many mice that break the bank, so I would probably recommend the Logitech MX Master 2S or maybe Master 3. I think most people are aware of these mice, and they've definitely been dubbed the title of best productivity mice. I also think Apple's Magic Trackpad would look really good in a clean and simple setup, however I would recommend using a mouse along with that. When it comes to mouse pads, I really don't think it matters that much, but I would probably say stay away from those RGB extended mouse pads because it's just another wire that will maybe throw off the clean and simple design. One mousepad I will mention I think looks really good is Randomfrankp's Topographic mousepad, but that'll be sold out for another while. So it looks like for mouse pads, you guys are pretty much on your own. For headsets, we can get back to the 3 categories of options. For a cheap headset that'll definitely complete your productivity setup, I would recommend the Corsair HS50 Pros. I would usually recommend going wireless for all your peripherals just to make it look a little more clean. However, for $50, it's hard to find a good budget headset that also looks really clean and is wireless. For only a little more, we could go with what Randomfrankp would call the piece of tech that is most worth it for the the money, and that is the Philips SHP 9500 headset. These are open back, high quality headphones that go for only $74. But apparently they have the sound quality of high-end premium headphones. For a mid-range option, I would say the Steelseries Arctis 7s fit the budget really well. Now, I own the Steelseries Arctis 5s, and the Steelseries Arctis 7s are the same simple and clean design, except without the RGB, meaning less wires. Actually, no wires. I think the Arctis 7s would definitely fit right into your productivity setup. For the most expensive headsets that someone would actually buy, there are a few I recommend. If you're looking for a headset that's kind of more meant for travel, I recommend the Sony WH-1000X M3s or the Bose 700 headphones, just because they look really good and have active noise cancelling. If you aren't looking for a headset with active noise cancelling and maybe something more meant for productivity, I would just recommend a pair of Sennheisers that cost around the same price. However, if you literally have no budget, I would say the Sennheiser HD820s are going to suit you well. Moving on to microphones, I don't really have 3 different price categories again, but there are a few I recommend, and I would say they're all around the mid-range option. The first one I recommend is actually the one I'm using right now, the HyperX Quadcast. However, it didn't make this list because of its sound quality. Although the mic is black and red, which isn't really a neutral color scheme, I think it looks really good and would definitely fit into a productivity setup. Besides looks, however, I would really recommend this for anyone. For an option that's a little bit more expensive, but still sounds really good, I would recommend the Blue Yeti X. This microphone also looks super clean and would also fit into a productivity setup. Moving on to monitors, I really think it's mostly preference on what you think looks better in a productivity setup. However, I would definitely recommend a 21:9 ultrawide monitor. This is because, for one, I think they just look a lot cleaner with their curved design and larger screen to body ratio, and two, you can just fit much more on the screen, which will lead you to be more productive. Productive. See what I did there? Anyways, moving on to actually looking at monitors, for the cheap option, I would recommend the monitor I'm using. This is the Viotek GNV34DB, a 1440p 100Hz 34-inch ultrawide. The reason I love this monitor so much is because it's the cheapest monitor with the specs it has, and so far it's held up really well. I have it mounted to my desk, and I think it looks really good. If you want to spend a little more on an ultrawide that may have better specs and comes from a name brand, I would recommend the Asus ROG Swift PG349Q. While it does come in at $850, it's easily going to one-up the cheap option. It comes with an IPS panel, 120Hz refresh rate, and a curved 34-inch design. Although it is a little expensive, I think it'll be worth it for the money. For the most expensive option that someone may actually buy, I would recommend the Acer Predator X35. Although it is 200Hz and 1440p, I wouldn't really recommend buying it because it does come in at $2,000, and there are a lot of other monitors that do the exact same thing for literally 4 times less. However, if you are looking for the best of the best, this is going to be the way to go. Now, there are actually monitors that measure in at 49 inches. However, I don't think these look that great in any setup just because of how big they are. However, if you do want those, they would lead you to be a lot more productive. Moving on to chairs, there are actually some that look a lot better in a productivity setup than others. However, the only brand I really recommend for this is going to be way too expensive for most people. The brand I recommend is Herman Miller, and you can watch some reviews on their chairs, and they're definitely going to be all positive. However, they're just really hard to recommend because of the price. And just to get this out of the way, I would say most of them are around $1,500. But even for the price, they're going to hold up super well, longer than any other chair, and they are going to look a lot better in any productivity setup than I would say any other chair you could get. I'll leave a few links in the description down below of a couple Herman Miller chairs that you guys should probably check out, but again, probably not buy. With desks, again, there aren't really going to be any cheaper or more expensive options just because they all come in at around the same price. However, I would recommend buying a countertop or a desk made of wood or with a wooden finish if you want your productivity desk to look the best. For a countertop, I'm going to recommend the IKEA Carlby, which is actually what I'm using right here. For desk legs, you could either go my route and use some nice clean Alex drawer units like this, or pick up some nice clean modern desk legs like these. But for a simple productivity setup, I would definitely recommend a wooden countertop. Now I'm just going to go over a few PC components that I think are worth checking out if you're going for a clean and simple design. The parts I'm going to go over are just the case, fans, and AIO. And just to give you a heads up, these are all from NZXT just because they are the best company if you're looking for clean, simple stuff. Starting with the case, the one from NZXT that I think looks the best is the NZXT H510 Elite. With its sharp, clean edges, tempered side and front panel, and nice clean design, it's going to be a case you see a lot of on room tour project, Clean and Simple Edition. Cheaper options that look almost the same and are worth checking out are the NZXT H510 and H510i. For some PC fans to show off in your H510 Elite, I would recommend sticking with the stock fans. These are the NZXT Air RGB2s, and for fans, I really don't think you can get a more clean and modern design. For the AIO, of course, again, it's from NZXT, but there's not really a specific one I would recommend because they all have the same clean design. I'll put a link in the description for their site so you can check out all their AIOs and their cooling options. And guys, we've finally come to the end of all the parts, and it took me 40 minutes to film this, so I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did enjoy, a sub and a like would be massively appreciated, and after subscribing, be sure to turn on those post notifications. Let me know what you guys thought of all the parts down in the comments below. Maybe you liked them, and then again, maybe not. Again, guys, I'm not forcing you to buy any of these parts as I am not a productivity expert. However, this is just to give you some inspirations and ideas for your productivity setups, because chances are you didn't watch this video because you hate productivity. Alright guys, that is finally going to be it for this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.